Hello, welcome back. History of Design, Session 9. I hope everybody's doing well. Session 9 marks the exact middle of our progress through the semester. Out of the 16 sessions, we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, which is 8 weeks left with a break in there for spring break. So, yeah, you're halfway through. With that being said, coming up in April, you will be registering for classes. I want to make you aware that the GRDS course checklist is just placed up here. This has the layout of what you should take and when you should take it, and this is what we're offering and when. Be aware that we've changed some things in fourth semester. We have a fall run only and a spring only. Just due to enrollments, we can no longer run fourth semester all year. So keep that in mind if you have other things to work on, other things to do. So you will take your graphic design workshop and integrated design thinking, and then digital media prep and portfolio assessment. It breaks things out a little bit easier for your fourth semester, and then during that time you can, any of these that you have left, take those. That's how the new setup is going to be. So just want to let you know that. If you have any questions about what to take next, just kind of go through this and it'll tell you. If you've taken it, you don't have to retake it. If you've cleared all first semester, you do second, then third, then fourth. So pretty easy. This is the easy way to look at it. And what makes it even easier is we're only offering one section of second, third, and fourth fall. So you just pick the one that's available, the one that you need to take. I know this is history, so this is third semester, so most of you will be in here or anything else you need to take to finish up. So there you go. That's coming up. I think it's April 10th or something like that. You'll get notifications if you don't check your emails. Check your emails. I don't have it fully memorized, but it's coming up. So make sure you check that. Session 9, like I said, halfway through. Always make sure we do our little attendance. What is a palette in design? Color selection. Continue. There we go. We know that one. Do that. That's your attendance. Easy peasy. I don't know why I clicked on it twice. Mid-session reviews. Use those to help you out. Today is Tuesday. We'll dig in to the title and the design. I've got a design. I'm going to show you a little trick that I love doing. I think it's like kind of cool. I maybe even do it 2 ways for you if I remember. And then I'll do the title. I've done those designs. I got a design started. But first, let's talk about history. The International Typographic Style. That's what we're talking about here. Go over some items as I always do, talk through these. These are 10 bullet points from the chapter. There's more information in the chapter. These are things that I found interesting. There may be things in the chapter that you find more interesting. Just like I said, I take 10 bullet points and I'm like, oh, this is cool. And it's got a little bit of my bias in there. So I always want you to look through the chapter, find out if there's something in there that you really like, take a look at it. There's a ton of stuff in there. We're getting into this newer, we're getting into, like modern design. And this is some of the stuff I really like, kind of like, it's a lot of the experimentation and trying stuff out and looking at it and being like, wow, can I do that? So like first one is Max Bill. We got this piece. He was a student at the Bauhaus and became the architect of Swiss design theory. Love it. He believed like graphic design should be based on mathematical logic and universal principles. This is like that grid. Like there are people who get really into it and it works, but it's one of those things where it's all about like figuring it out before you design it. What is my system going to be? How am I going to do stuff? And it works. I watched a little YouTube mathematical thing on MC Escher. You guys, I hope you know who MC Escher is. Does all those like trippy like stairs going everywhere designs and stuff like that. And there's a book now that I want to get, this book that they have at the MC Escher, but they go through, they show his process. And, you know, of course we see MC Escher's final design, but we never see like this insane grid system that he builds before he does his final drawings. So like it's all thought out. It's just not like he just doesn't come up with it. But this book showed like pages and pages of like these mathematical grids that he would come up with in order to do his designs. So that's always like, it's better sometimes to know all that. Like, how does he do the magic? And it just doesn't, like, we think he just appears and does it. That's like this. So Max Bill and this style of design is like setting up the grid system, precise grids, and like sitting there, and like that is part of the design process. If you choose to do that, it's like, okay, I want the grids. I'm going to make this grid system with, you know, these perfect gaps, and like, how do we set up the perfect gaps? Like, and then he's got, some of these squares are just a little bit different. And then that throws me off. Like, it's hard. It's like, it works. It's hard for me to, if you give me a grid, to be like, okay, well, what if I want something a third of a grid? Like, do I have to start breaking it down? Does everything have to go by that? I don't have a good time with the grids. I try to use them when needed, but I just have a hard time with them. That's me personally. All right, Max Huber. So we have Max Bill and Max Huber, two Maxes, like the Swiss design, but then started bringing in this energy and started doing crazy stuff. Let's call it crazy stuff. It's the photography, bringing in other, as I said, he was famous for using bright colors and overlapping layers of shapes and typography. And that's just like, it's almost like collage, graphic design collage. And I'm going to show you how to do like a kind of a version of this for the piece. I really like it. Maybe I should try to do it more. I love kind of like that transparency. I think sometimes maybe what happens is you end up spending more time trying to make it look like it was old, because there's just some naturalness to the old time look that they get with these, that it's very hard to like emulate. Like, we can get close, but there's just some softness that happens and some weirdness. But I'll show you my version when we get to that. But I love that kind of stuff. Here, this is Joseph. I blended these two because this talks about Joseph, this talks about Armin, and then this talks about both of them paired together. So I just showed these two paired together. Joseph Müller-Brockmann, great designer. He used photography and objective graphics to communicate information without the noise of emotional illustration. So he was like just very plain stuff. When you look at his work, it is very much him. It is like big and swooping. I think he did the car driving piece. Let me just click on that. I'll show you. Like, I love this stuff. It's so like down and simple. Images. Oh yeah, it's this. Like, just, you know, like all of this just plain, like really grid, really to the point, and very impactful. I think it's very impactful. Then Armin Hoffman was doing dynamic stuff, way different. And as we can see in this fifth, you know, we talked the Basel School, which is Müller-Brockmann, and the Zurich School, and then the Basel School and Hoffman, and you can see the differences that they created. Like, one guy was really about the structure and the grid and keeping things, and like the other guy was like, I'm just gonna play with shapes. Let's have just like shapes. Let's do this for the fun of it. And you can even see in these styles, like, even though there is some gridding to it, there's a lot more expressive fun. Here's some great examples of using just shape and imagery to design. So very cool stuff from that. I can do this, I can't do that. I would like to do this. You know, like when you look at these styles, I always look at them and like, oh, I want to try that. I want to do this. How do I do it? How do we get there? Emily Reuter's Typographic Laws. Reuter, a teacher at the Basel, argued that the primary purpose of typography was legibility. He taught white space between letters was just as important as the black ink of the letters themselves. That's something that is very important to know. That's the white space we always talk about. When you put things too close together, where's the white space? Like, where's that negative space? There's negative space in design. It's so important to know about. That's where I'm always like, whenever you hear me like, things are too close together on your designs, the type is touching the edge of the box. Like, that's all that stuff I'm talking about. Even like goes to this. This is like, he's talking about the white space in between the letters. Here, the white space is the letter, but the red is the white space around the letter. Like, that's important. What we don't see is just as important as what we do see. That's what creates that perfect design piece. Looking at it all as one piece. The New Graphique in 1958, a quarterly journal was launched that acted as the Bible for the movement. It was printed in 3 languages and helped spread the Swiss principles across the globe. This is that stuff that I wish still happened. I always look for I'd say once a year, my brain clicks on and be like, I wish there was a graphic design magazine. There's like 2, Communication Arts and another one. But back in the day, and I think it's just, of course it's due to the internet. Like, you can just find it on the internet. You can just find it on the internet. But it's like getting that structured, curated piece is sometimes really nice than just me searching the internet. I need to look up if you can get this. I'm sure this is still just as impactful now as it was back then, and might be kind of cool to research. There was there's like a ton of old graphic design kind of magazines that I'm sure you could still find. If you're interested, ask me about it at another time and I'll look them up. You can find out of print versions of them that are very cool and helpful. Like, it's worth seeing all that stuff in your practices as well. Jacqueline S. Casey and the MIT connection. The Swiss style came to America partly through designers. And then when they spent time at MIT. MIT is a Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where they introduced the grid system and the servicing departments, influencing how American universities branded themselves. So this is a piece. So it's that, grid system here, but with like a little bit of the non-grid system, but, very well done. MIT, on the forefront of design in engineering, but also at the forefront of design in design. They were, always willing to try the new stuff right away. It's a really cool place to visit. MIT has a museum. I went to the museum. Like, the museum is like, holy cow. Like, you want to learn about smart people, go to the MIT museum. I was there a couple of years ago. It's super cool. We left with something. Got some kind of souvenir. So very, very cool. Siegfried Odermatt in Switzerland, a country with outstanding design schools. Such self-educated graphic designers as Siegfried are a rarity. Originated plan to become a photographer, but after working in photographic studios for years, he turned to design and typography. This is his work where you can see the influence from one thing to another. This is that kind of talk about learning one thing and then doing another, and then having it change the way you do that thing. So if you don't know my background is originally, actually, it's threefold. I did go to art school with a MIAD. I took 1 year of industrial design before I switched over to illustration. Craig Smallish was my instructor in illustration. I switched over to illustration, and then after that degree, I switched over and started working as a designer. So you use that information that you learned one area. So he was a great photographer, knew how to work photography, but then turned to design and typography later on. So all those skills combined, and it makes you a stronger designer the more you can learn and keep pushing yourself and learning new things about it. And that's maybe the hardest part, or maybe not the hardest part for some people. Like, I'm always designing all the time. I was thinking about that earlier today. I think maybe there's one day a week where I don't sit down fully at a computer to do the design work, but it's every day, and it's not just schoolwork. I'm doing other things. I'm trying things. I'm looking up stuff and experimenting. So the more you do it, the better you get at it. And then if you can start to adopt new techniques into your styles and what you do, the better. Finally, early 1960s, De Haarak initiated a series of 350 book jackets for McGraw-Hill using a uniform typographic system and grid. McGraw-Hill makes educational books. And I'll see if I can get more here up for you. I get emails from McGraw-Hill all the time because I teach in college. Let's see, images. I mean, this has some, like anyone with this little symbol in the corner. So, is using that grid system, right align. What do we have here? That's not, but if you go through and you look, right align, like he's got that system built, very vibrant. I love like some of the overlap he's doing. It's very great with this flat graphic style, super cool work, and very just impactful. Not a lot of stuff, super impactful, super straightforward. So pretty cool stuff. As I always say, make sure you look through the book yourself, as there's stuff I didn't cover. I just picked 10 points and talk about those 10 points to have some fun. And there might be other things in the book that you find even more interesting than I find interesting. And so I want you to delve in and find your own style and what you like. So International Typographic Style. Here's the book. You just download that. You take a look at it. Dig through. There's some great examples in here, like some of this stuff. This is really like, yeah, getting into like, I really dig this stuff. And I'm going to show you a piece based off of this, my piece. It's like a reverse of that, but I'm going to show you how to play around with it. Because you're like, oh, well, like sometimes it's just like, oh, I love that style, but I don't know how to do it. And you have to learn to experiment in all the programs. It's not just one. And I think we get stuck with that as beginning designers, is we settle on Illustrator. But there's things in Illustrator that can't be done, but InDesign can do them. Or that we need to start in Photoshop to get things prepped, bring that into the other one, and then use it here and there. So I will talk about that right now. So I'm going to open up, oh, look at that. I got it almost done. So this is the International Typographic Style. I talked about Swiss design, and I love that Nautilus shell thing. So I've got my images, I got them all squared up. I've got my little system where, like, here's my little like grid system. If you take these images and you flip them, it creates this space. So it's a positive, negative with the type and the imagery, but I want something in the background here. So my background piece is this Nautilus, but I want the Nautilus to somewhat represent what I've seen, but I'm going to do it in a little different way. It was a black Nautilus on a teal background, and I'm going to play around a little bit. But one thing I love it, I do it all the time. It's like one of my go-tos is, hold on, I'm going to just change something up here just so I don't have so many windows open. I got this Nautilus from Adobe. I'm going to go to Image, Mode, and Grayscale. So the first thing I'm going to do is make it gray. That's my starting point to be able to manipulate this the way I want to. The second one is this is a full grayscale, meaning it is continuous tone. For the most part, that we cannot get continuous tone on a computer screen, but we can get darn near close. But I don't want that. So I'm going to go to Image, Mode, Bitmap. And what I want to do is do a halftone screen. You can do a bunch of items, but I want the halftone screen, which is those little dots that create an image. I want my output to be high res, so that's 300, and I'm going to hit OK. And then it's going to ask me, what is my frequency and what is my shape? So I want round. You can pick from across, a square, a line. So I want round, and the 12 should be pretty good, and I'm hit OK. And that creates a halftone. It is good. It's not great, but it's workable for what we need. Now, I'm going to save this, but I'm actually going to go to File, and I'm going to export it as a TIFF. Oh, no, I have to save as a TIFF. So I'm going to go to a TIFF. Now, a TIFF, I don't know why a TIFF works like this, but like a Photoshop won't. There's something that they created when they create a TIFF that allows you to do some magical things in the different programs. Tell you the truth, I always forget. Like, I know I can do it, but I'm like, which program does what and which way? And so I know one part, and then we'll try it in a different part as well. So I'm going to export that as a TIFF. I'm going to hit save. I got some more information here. I'm just keeping it and hitting OK. So I now have a TIFF that's saved somewhere stupid. I didn't look where it's saving. Export. Save as. Save the documents, didn't it? Downloads. Okay, perfect. Now, in here on my background, I'm going to place it. I'm going to place the TIFF. File, place. I'm going to go to Downloads, and I want the TIFF, and I'm going to hit Place. I'm going to place it. Placed huge. I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to 25 and hit OK. Now, I have this. And as you can see with the TIFF, it made it transparent. So whatever was white on the TIFF is now knocked out, but the black is still there. Now here's the kick butt part. Is under fill. If I can change that color to any color I want. So the black becomes the color, and then the background becomes the background. So for this, if I do this, you get blue on blue. But all I need to do is put a color box behind it, and I can change the color of the Nautilus shell. So if I go this and I say, let's just do pink for fun, and I go to Object, Arrange, Send to Back, I get that. If I change that to white, I get that. So it's a pretty neat way to kind of simulate a little bit of what they did back in the day. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to put this here. I have to send this to back. Object, Arrange, Send to Back. Because I wanted this behind everything, but not interjecting into the text. So that's a fun way to play with some imagery and with that dot system. The other one, I think InDesign will take one new. I'm just going to create just a file, create a file. File, place. This is where I'm going to screw it up, just to let you know. Downloads, TIFF, open. Let's double click here. We go to 25. Make it a little bit bigger. And then, I don't know if it'll do it. This one fills the white. So that's what it is. It's the reverse. It's like the reverse of what Illustrator does. Illustrator will take the black and make it a color and keep the other side transparent. InDesign will keep it black but make the inside the fill color. And then it's not transparent then. So if I put a color box behind it, objects, arrange, bring the front. As you can see, it's not transparent. But then if you know, I don't know what you do. There is a way to do this. I think there is a way to turn the black into a color. I can't remember right now. It's something I generally, if I need to do, I just look it up. So, which will lead to brand media. So that's just like a fun thing to do, a fun way to play around, maybe add a little texture to your designs, try something else out, and play around. So that's like my little design there. Then we have, so that was the design. Now the title, I don't have the title built. I have to do something. It doesn't like me when I lock it. 6.5 by 1.25. That's all I need to know. So if I close this, new file, 6.5, tab 1.25, tab, one page, probably 1/4 inch, that's all fine. It may be an 1/8 inch. Click create. I just don't want to mess with this. It's 1/8 inch, which I can modify. File, document setup, and just put a 1 in front of that. Put a 1 in front of that. Hit OK. It adjusts it right away for me, so that's not a problem. And the International Typographic Style is what I mean. So I'm going to actually just pull that from here, because I can just go to my title, copy that out. Kind of weird that I'd rather just copy and paste than to retype it out. But you know what? Why type what you don't need to type? Paste that in. It is, of course, needs to be Helvetica. And when I was doing something, I wanted this. Now again, I'm like, okay, what can I do? And I'm going to match it. But what I'm going to do is I'll pull it apart. I got 4 words. I'm going to take out the 4 words. And I can grab all this, type, create outline, object. It should be good then. And I can ungroup those individually and change the color. Now I know my background color is just cyan. So I'm going to do this and put type. I did not create all my layers correctly. I'm going to do that now. Oh, maybe, do I? I set a new idea. All right, and then start to play with these. I want the background, let's put the teal in. Make my background as big as the bleed every time, no matter what. It's just habit. Just do it. And the fill will be the cyan. And I want my type to be white. paper, bring it down, zoom in, not too much. I gotta make this big. They're all spread out. Now I was looking at this earlier and like this lineup of like how I can get things to line up and look cool and make my adjustments and combine letters. Like when I talk about you need to change stuff, it's like some of it is just as simple as like like if I'm doing stuff like this and getting these to line up, two typographic changes. It's just basically getting beyond you just typing it out and like thinking about where the letters fit, how they fit, and then looking at them. Here's another idea just came to me. If I made this smaller, it's like it's almost, and it's just playing around. Like use the arrow key. Look at all that, like it's almost a perfect straight line, and this is almost dead in the middle there. Always hold down shift. There we go. There's the preview. That's kind of cool, the way those line up together. And then the margin is there for a reason, right? Don't go beyond the margin. Now, another thing we have to look at is how this reads. I don't want to put typographical here because that would be the typographical international style. It still needs to read correctly, and these are two long words. And so we have to keep in our minds, like, how do we read? We read left to right, top to bottom. And so if we start really interchanging the words too much, it becomes illegible, meaning the person doesn't know how to read it correctly, and so the message is lost. So I have to make sure that like everything kind of lines up and works, left to right. I have this idea now. I was looking at this T, and can I make the L and the T friends? Or will that make it look like international? And sometimes these are just experiments. Like you try it out. Does it work? Does it not work? And it's just taking a few minutes here and there. I mean, this is, you're allotted an hour, and some of this is just like good meditation, good design meditation. Like give yourself the time to do this. The more you give yourself the time to do it and play, the better you're gonna get. If you're always in a rush mode, it doesn't work. And I know, well, I have like 3 assignments to do. This one, just set a timer. Just start setting timers. Give yourself a certain amount of time, uninterrupted. And I know everybody's like, oh, I can get uninterrupted. Yeah, you can. Just tell people what you're doing. Tell them to take care of something for 5 minutes. Set a timer and be like, you can't bug me. I'm busy. I'm on the phone. Ooh, look at the way that fits in there. Now, I'm not like blown away by this in any sort of way, but let's make it as big. And the thing is, I feel like it needs something. But I don't want to add just to add. Oh, do I dare? Do I just do this? Just saw this. Am I the only one who saw this? Hold down Shift. And just have it go off the page. I don't know. It's kind of like a racing stripe. Maybe that's all it needs. I think that might be all it needs. But you can see it doesn't take that long to play around. Give yourself some dedicated time and get lost in the design process. Try some things out. Like I said, like, you know, try some of that transparency stuff. It's so fun to dig around. Or what if I place that in there? What if I go back to here? I'm gonna go up to here. Let's call it image. Oh wait, no, I can't. Nope. I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm gonna leave it as is. So yeah, simple. All right, cool. That's what we have to do today. So do the chapter, find something interesting in the chapter, do the write-up on the chapter, give me a design, find your designs, try to see what that design looks like, do your title in the same sort of title. Maybe, you know, like I said, I'm starting to say, see if you can kind of get these to work together. Even though they're different, maybe you can get them to work together. Actually, I want to see this one in the preview mode. Yeah, it works all right. Play around. If you have questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out to me. Let me know what you got going on, what you need help with, what I can help. You got a style you're trying to emulate, reach out to me. I'll help you figure it out. I think that's it for today. A little short one for today. I had that other design already done, that's why. Thursday, we'll talk about the 8-page minimum pamphlet, folded pamphlet design brochure, goes under many terms. Next phase, we got to start making it digital, and then we have a week, I think a full week or two to work on that. Week 4, week 5. So yeah, 2 more weeks to work on that. But we need to keep moving on it because we're going to make updates and changes and fix everything. So don't forget about that. Don't let it go too long. I will show you my progress on Thursday and then show you additional progress as well. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you know how to reach me. And I will talk to you, if not on the discussion boards, on Thursday. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.